Hi guys, I'm kicking around Washington, D.C. for the day. See, there's the Washington Monument on one side. Over here we have the World War II Memorial. And there you have the Lincoln Memorial. The Washington Monument's directly behind you when you're looking at the Lincoln Memorial this way. And I apologize to several viewers in the area that I really wanted to hook up with. I have a whole day to kill right now, but coming down here was a last-minute rushed thing, and I just didn't really have the time to get myself together enough to contact people and say, yes, I'm coming down, can I meet you? So I'm sorry. But now that I'm here, I have this whole day to kick around until I go back to New Jersey. So I'm down at the National Mall. Apparently I'm in a flight path because it's just one giant airplane after another going over. I'm going to wander around a little bit. I'm going to go see the Vietnam Memorial and the Korean War Memorial. And then I'm going to go over to the Smithsonian's because they're free and it's already freaking hot and it's like 9 in the morning and I figure they're air conditioned and free. So I was walking down here and I stopped to get a cup of coffee and a muffin for breakfast because I was hungry. And you gotta know, I never go out for food. And it killed me to have to pay for coffee and a muffin. It was over $6 for coffee and a muffin. What can you do? Washington, D.C. is so ridiculously expensive. You know, and of course this area near Capitol Hill, you have all these people making a lot of money. You have all these tourists. So of course the prices are ridiculous. So I'm walking along with my muffin and coffee to come down here. And there's this young homeless guy sitting there with his dog. So of course I stopped to give him some money. And I got to chatting with him a little bit. Nice young guy. I could be his mother. And I said, well, is there anything I can get you? Would you like a cup of coffee? And his eyes kind of lit up and he's like, I would love some coffee. So I was like, well, I'll get you some coffee. What do you take in it? You know, cream, sugar, what do you want? And he's like, yeah, cream and sugar. And I was like, well, you need a lot of cream and sugar. I'm gonna put a lot of cream and sugar in it because you need the calories when you're sitting here homeless and you don't know when you're gonna have your next good meal. So I went back to this coffee and sandwich place and I got him a coffee. I got him a chicken sandwich on a baguette, very fancy. Got him a big bottle of water. I got him an apple turnover and a bag of granola. And then I walked back. And by then he was sitting with an older guy. So I gave them the food and I sat down to talk to them for a few minutes. I wanted to hear how they were doing and I wanted to see them and communicate with them a little bit. And I didn't want to film them or interview them or anything because I didn't want to exploit them for a video, but I wanted to tell you about them because homelessness, there's something very wrong when people on this planet are homeless. It's just wrong. Everybody should have a home and food and clothes on their back. I know there are those who would disagree with me, but I think it's a basic human right, personally. And there are a lot of homeless people in DC, and there are a lot of homeless veterans, which is so wrong. And again, I know some people would disagree with me and say, what, just because they served in the military, we should have to take care of them for the rest of their lives? But I say, yeah, we should. Yeah, if you served in the military, yes, you should not be homeless. If you served in Vietnam and you're an older veteran, you should not be homeless. I don't know what the solution is for homelessness, but I firmly believe that homelessness in America could be eradicated if there was enough will to do it. And sadly, I guess there's not the political will. So here, here like a block from the Capitol building where Congress meets, you have these homeless people living rough. And it was a father and son. The older guy was the father, and they told me how they came to be homeless and what their family situation was, and the son might have some developmental issues. I mean, he's a young adult and he's got his service dog with him, and breakup of a marriage. I don't know. I didn't get all the details. There are reasons. However it is they got to being homeless, you now have the problem of how are they going to get out of being homeless? And honest to God, there but for the grace of God go all of us. Most Americans are a paycheck away from losing their homes, and anybody could be on the streets at any time. It's a matter of good luck versus bad luck, good decisions versus bad decisions. I mean, it could happen. A lot of people don't have a safety net. I asked them what they do at night, if there are any shelters for them to go to, and they said no, there really aren't, and they can't have their dog at a shelter. And of course you don't want to get rid of your dog. Your dog is a part of your family, and it's your protection, and it's his service dog. So they sleep outside. They told me last night they slept down here at the mall. In case people don't know DC, the mall is not a shopping mall. It's the area from the Capitol building to the Washington Monument. There is a long kind of wading pool. Well, you're not supposed to wade in it. I've seen deer in it. Going to the Lincoln Memorial. You've seen it in Forrest Gump if you don't know what I'm talking about. So they slept down here. Well, it poured last night. I mean, they're out in the weather. We all know that. Homeless people are out in the weather all the time. It's hot as hell already early in the morning. It poured last night, thunder and lightning, so of course they got soaked. They talked about the problem of like being dirty and hot and sweaty and smelly and how gross that feels and how bad that is for your psyche and how little you can do about it and how people look down on you. It's first thing in the morning. All these people are zipping by, speed walking to get to work. People don't see them. They don't see the homeless. I mean, they're in an area where a lot of people with money are passing by. I hope they get some money. I don't know. I don't have the solutions for homelessness, but we need to see them, to really see them, and to hear their stories, and to talk with them and to help them. We talked about dumpster diving. We talked about food waste in America and how people throw food away. I asked them if the tourists coming by and the people who work in the area, talk to them, engage them, help them out. And they said, people really can't be bothered. Nobody ever stops to talk to them. People might throw change in the cup, but people judge the homeless. Everybody thinks they're there because they're drug addicts or alcoholics through fault of their own. The dad said to me, we're not drug addicts. After a hard day out here, we might have a beer. At least they have each other. I mean, God, to be alone and homeless, it's very dangerous being homeless. They need that dog for protection. They have each other. I don't know if there's ever going to be a solution for them. How are they going to ever get out of homelessness? They could be homeless for years. They appeared able-bodied. They looked like men who could work. But how are they ever going to get a job? Who is ever going to hire them? They're not clean. The older guy's missing a lot of teeth. They're not presentable. They didn't look awful. They didn't look that dirty, and I didn't smell them. I mean, God, in this heat, I already smell. It's hot. But, when you're living on the street, and they don't have a tent, they're not living out of their car, they live on the street. So how are they ever going to get a job? That first step up of getting some income, when are they ever going to find affordable housing in DC? I don't know. I mean, our lawmakers, our representatives have to walk by and see homeless people all the time. These are American citizens. And even if they weren't American citizens, these are human beings on this planet. But these are American citizens and very often vets who've served their country. How do you ignore that? And in this area, there's no Aldi. I couldn't just pop into a grocery store and get them $30 worth of groceries. And $30 would have gone a lot farther in a grocery store than in a, fancy downtown DC sandwich shop and coffee place. I haven't seen a single grocery store. I don't know where people get their groceries. I can't even imagine where they go to get their groceries around here. It's sad and it's shameful. It's shameful that in a country with as much money as we have and a political system where we are supposedly able to vote for people to affect positive change in our country, how we just leave the homeless out there hanging to dry. And I know a lot of people care about the homeless and work to help them, but it's obviously not enough. And yes, they could come to this park. They could sit in the shade. I have to say it's a lot more pleasant in the shade. There's water there. There's a little pond there. They can splash around in the pond, until the cops come and tell them not to. But if they're here in the park, they have no chance of getting any money from anybody walking by. There's just not the foot traffic. So they're stuck there sitting on the sidewalk all day in the hot sun, trying to get enough money to get an overpriced meal. They can come here at night, but there's really nowhere for them to bathe. I mean, can they go into the Smithsonian to use the bathroom and get in the air conditioning for a few minutes? Homeless people can surprise you. They don't always look homeless, but sometimes they do, and a lot of places like the Smithsonian, they're not going to welcome them because it doesn't look nice for the tourists. Tourists don't want to come to DC to go to the Smithsonian and share a bathroom with a couple of homeless men who are trying to have a bird bath and wash their armpits, I don't know. Is having a home, is having a place to lay your head at night a basic human right? I kind of feel like it is. When people have so much, why should other people have literally nothing. Let me also mention this, they have the dog, right? So when I went to get the younger man a cup of coffee before the older guy was sitting down, I said, does your dog need anything? And he said, no, I have some sausages here for him in my backpack. So I was like, okay. When I came back with the food and he was going through the bag, he pulled out the apple turnover, which I had kind of intended for the young man to have as his breakfast. He immediately just ripped it up and fed it to the dog. He fed the whole turnover to the dog. He fed the dog before he ate anything himself. And I gotta say, the dog looked pretty healthy. The dog did not look malnourished, at least. And you know, these guys weren't mentally ill. The dad did most of the talking. They were both very pleasant. And I'm not saying the dad has a PhD or anything. You know, he might lack education, but he wasn't stupid. He was able to carry on a perfectly intelligent, coherent conversation. He wasn't misspeaking or mispronouncing words. I mean, these aren't stupid people, and they're not crazy people. They're down on their luck people. You know, someone like Jeff Bezos, who has how many billions of dollars, he could solve homelessness in America. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he didn't earn his money, Mr. I'm the head of Amazon, but I'm saying, how much money does a single person actually need to have? You know, the question really isn't, why are they homeless? As if there are good reasons for being homeless and there are bad reasons for being homeless. And we only help the people who have good reasons. The question really is, why do we as a society, as a culture, allow it? Why is it something we tolerate in our country? Just like when people ask, why is there evil in the world? Why does God allow these things to happen? That's not the question. The question should be, why are we allowing it to happen?